Okay, so you know how I always say that I want to make these videos really short and then I end up making them like a half an hour long. This time I am certain this won't be all that long because I actually have almost nothing I want to discuss in this chapter. Like, getting all of the things that happen in this chapter away, like, we have Pedro being cool as hell, we have Brooke being cool as hell, but that was half the chapter and I don't want to talk about that because we all saw what happened. The only thing I want to maybe say as a little side note is that it's good that Brooke is a skeleton because that makes Big Mom's interest in him big, and we know that now Brooke can't be killed because they want him alive in the books of whatever. So he can't be killed, he's basically safe, which is good for him because while a fight between him and Smoothie would be really fun and all, I don't think he's strong enough to take her on because she is a sweet commander. But that's all I want to say about that. We have Big Mom not giving a crap about anything except that it seems that she's really angry that someone has broken into the treasure room because she cares a lot about the Tamatabako, which she's talked about in the last chapter as well. But again, that's kind of all I want to say about that because it just seems that she's so used to everything going her way that this one thing that could potentially mess up her plans, that's what gets her angry because she feels like she has everything else under control. What's interesting in this chapter, the only thing I found, I found everything interesting, but the only thing I find worth discussing is Sanji and Pudding. I don't know how much I'm gonna talk about Sanji, but I'm gonna talk about Pudding at the very least, because a lot of people with this chapter were like, okay, it's confirmed Pudding is a good person. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I am gonna completely accept that she might as well be on the Straw Hat side. Also, just a side note, whenever I say someone is good and I say someone is bad, when I say good, I just mean pro Straw Hat, and when I say evil or bad, I just mean anti Straw Hat. So I know that it's confusing when I say that I want Rachel to be evil, I just mean that I don't want her to be an ally. That's all I want. That's just it. But that's a sidetrack. Either way, it seems like Pudding is actually on their side, and a lot of people, because I was so confused with this chapter, if you saw my live reaction, I was just like, what the fucking hell? I went through a lot of your comments. I haven't seen other reviews, but I've just seen what you said. And the discussion for the most part is, what did Pudding tell them by the end? And the two things, the only two things I believe I've seen people say is that either she's gonna kill herself, which I feel like most people say just for the heck of it, or the more likely option that she's gonna run away, because we had the scene with Lola. Where Lola basically said, I'm gonna go off and find my own, love and stuff like that. Which a lot of people took as, okay, so it seems like Pudding is gonna follow in Lola's footsteps. And, I think I actually, I gave my answer to two of you, and for the rest of you, I just decided to say, I'm gonna talk about this in my review because I got tired of writing everything down. So sorry about that. But basically what I think is that she's not gonna run away, she's not gonna kill herself, because when I think about that, for me, that does not solve the problem, because if she wants to help Sanji, you need to remember, I'm just gonna, in this review, just for this review, even though I am of the opinion that Pudding is still hiding something, which I'll probably talk about in a little bit, just for this chapter, I'm just gonna assume that she's pro Straw Hat. She listened to Sanji's story. She listened to him pour his heart out, say that this is hell for him, the Veen Smokes have made his life hell for 7-8 years of his life, and being back now is like hell to him. And the one saving grace he had in all of this would be Pudding, which means that for Pudding to not hurt Sanji further than his family has the Veen Smokes has already hurt him, she would need to stop the wedding, not just run away or something, because if Pudding was to either just run away or kill herself, I don't actually see what's stopping Big Mom from marrying one of her other daughters to Sanji. And then, of course, someone pointed out that, okay, if that's the case, then why didn't the guy Lola was supposed to marry someone else, because Lola had a twin, why not just marry that off? And at that point, Lola's twin could not have been married because she just married Capone. And while I understand that, another person also said something about Big Mom or someone, with Brulee's powers, taking on Pudding's appearance and then marrying Sanji and whatever. But either way, I just don't see how Pudding running away or not being there would stop the marriage from happening. If anything, if Sanji was to get married, it would have to be Pudding, because that's like, that would be his saving grace, right? So I don't believe that Pudding is running away or killing herself here, but I do think she's going to sacrifice herself, if, of course, she's genuine, which I'm just gonna assume at this point, or in this chapter at the very least, that she is. Because whether or not she's genuine, she told the Straw Hats something that would make it seem like she's on their side, so, I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point. What I think she told them is that she is going to defy, like, actively, aggressively defy Big Mom, that will make her, like, a potential death person, because, like, go against Big Mom, you're dead, right? So that's probably why they have that reaction, because she will actively be going against this marriage, and by doing so, she will probably get killed. But she won't commit suicide, like, just jump off a building or something. She'll just, like, do something that will get her killed, which is why she said goodbye, because she knows that she's sacrificing herself for Sanji and the Straw Hats' sake. What exactly she is doing, I am not entirely sure, but it could be something like, I am going to take Sanji, get him out, get you out somehow, and just, like, get everyone away from this shit. Except that I don't know how that would save Sanji's hands, or Seth, or anyone. Because she is also aware of Seth, and she is also aware of the handcuffs. I don't know if it's confirmed that she's aware of Seth, but she must be, because it's Big Mom's information network that has Seth under, yeah. Either way, that's just what I think about Pudding. I still don't trust her. I could see her potentially not being, like, evil. Again, I use evil as just anti-Straw Hat, but I just feel like there's a reason that we haven't seen the third eye yet. And yes, there is a possibility that it's not even Pudding who has the third eye, but I just think at this point, it would be weird that we haven't got a reveal that someone else is the three-eyed girl, and I just think that the fact that we haven't seen the third eye yet is just Oda telling us that he's still holding information back about Pudding, and while that may not be she is against the Straw Hats, it's still something, like, there's still something off about Pudding, and until we see that third eye or get confirmation that she is not actually a three-eyed girl, I will be suspicious about her. But I think that's ultimately my thoughts about Pudding in this chapter. I hope that there's something up, like, if she's a pro Straw Hat, I hope she does something really awesome, because I feel like Oda is really good with his women in this arc, so I'm having high expectations for Pudding. Pudding, Reiju, and Big Mom, I feel like they should have, like, really interesting. I would hate for them to fall into some sort of cliche role, which is exactly why I don't want Reiju to be pro Straw Hat, because especially if Pudding, as it seems now, is pro Straw Hat, like, I need one of them to be against them. I can't have both of them. I just, no. But that's just my opinion, and I totally get it if you don't agree with me. Now moving on to Sanji, because I'm not exactly sure what I think at this point, because I have been of the opinion that he's been up to something, and this chapter really did make it seem like he wasn't. But, I mean, going on a complete limb here and say that Sanji is still faking it, and that he knows that he's being observed, because for me, I just found that weird pep talk he gave to himself so weird. Like, he was just like, yes, I am a love cook, in love, that's just how it is, and then the hard eyes, and then going out and picking flowers. I feel like, I just have a feeling that that's going a bit too overboard, but on the other hand, it could just be a fucking coping mechanism, and I would be on board with that as well, because if we're not gonna see really smart, strategic Sanji setting up a master plan, I want to see a really sad, broken, angsty side of Sanji, because I live for the angst, I want the sad backstories, I want the sad things to happen, I want my favorite characters to suffer. I really like that. So if Sanji has given up all hope and it's just like, whatever, let me just leave the Straw Hats, whatever, like, I'd be annoyed that he thinks that it would work because of Indy's lobby and all that, but then again, because we have... The thing is that I would accept it because of Seth, because at this point in time, like, one, as I've talked about before, Luffy doesn't even know about Seth, so if Sanji was just to say, okay, I'm just gonna need to have Luffy save me now, Seth would die. There's no way for them to save Seth at this point, so Sanji giving up would be understandable because their situation is so different from when it was Robin and Nami and whoever, because the threats to the people that they loved, or at least for Nami, like, that was in close proximity. They could save these people in the blink of an eye because they were close by, but for Sanji, because the people that he loves and are in danger are on the other side of the world, it's a more complicated issue. So I could understand why he would have given up, and if that is the case, I want Oda to go full on angsty, break down Sanji to everything that he is, break him down to the core. Like, I want to see that so badly, just break him as much as you can. Or I want to see Master Plan Sanji, like, yeah. At this point, I'm just, the thing is, I am confused, but I am so happy that I am confused because I hate being able to predict stuff. That's the one thing that I had against Dressrosa, that what you could, like, basically every outcome of everything was predictable. And while you couldn't, like, of course you couldn't predict all the details, like, Year 4th was a surprise, and, Usopp unlocking Haki was a surprise. Other things were probably surprises as well, but this arc, it keeps surprising me in really good ways. So that's just props to Oda for making me doubt everything that I read all the time. Because the thing is, if I have doubted every character in this arc, like every single character, I've been like, you have a hidden motive. But in the end, if none of them end up having a hidden motive, I have been fooled because I fooled myself. So that's fine. That's fine. And congrats to all of you who never fell for any of that shit. Either way, I think I am actually gonna end up the video here. Oh my god, surprise, it's under 15 minutes. You can leave a like if you want to. I mean, I wasn't exactly doing anything of value, I feel like, in this video, so yeah. What I really want though is your guys' opinion on, like, putting Sanji, whatever. Feel free to discuss all the things that I skipped, because putting and Sanji were, like, the only thing that I really cared about in this chapter. So leave all your comments and all your thoughts in the comments, because I would like to read them and I would like to hear all your theories. I feel like I am basically at this point done trying to predict what's gonna happen in this arc, because I feel like I'm been proving wrong, like, the next chapter, but then again, I'm probably gonna try again next chapter. And I guess you can subscribe if you want to see more. Don't know why this video would make you want to subscribe, but either way, you can do that, and until next time, bye.